Utopia. This is the word that gives Thorsten Schutz his energy, his passion, the idea that gives him his get up and go, the word that makes his world go round. A place where you can be happy and the people around you can be happy too, to use his words. Something to strive for, perhaps, a way to go ahead. Australia was a place that the 30-year-old Thorsten Schutz found excitement and adventure, and as a keen trekker, long walks into the outback quenched his thirst. The open spaces, the great outdoors, alone in the bush for days and weeks at a time. He was in his element. It was one fateful morning, however, just outside Exmouth, Western Australia, having walked over 1,000 miles, feet covered in blood blisters, that the world as he knew it caved in. Thorsten was hitchhiking on March the 15th, 2001, the day of the accident that changed his life.
9 years ago, back. What? After I decided to make a longer trip around the world, where it starts in Australia, where it ends in Australia. 1,000 miles, the last track. Before I enter in a car, where I stopped or where I want to give me a lift for a long distance, where I was happy to meet him. I'm quite tired of walking, yeah, a lot, and I enjoy to get the lift and just driven in a car with nice music, air condition, and a cold beer. Yeah, I thought this was my lucky day. Yeah, probably it was. Yeah, because I don't know how long it takes until it happened that he had an accident on the road on the highway. I think it was not this long, maybe an hour. An hour where I enjoyed to have a cold beer and a cold room. I lost my my memory about what happened. I heard later he tried to brake on a wheel, but lying on the highway in a car. I don't have seat belt, and I'm flying out of the front window. Wake up a week later in a hospital in Western Australia and Perth. Back to Germany after 3 months. I spent in a rehabilitation hospital. I woke up in a hospital in Australia with the knowing about that I can't walk anymore. What I was not knowing is how much I can be independent in the future. Yeah. I'm surprised about how independent I am.
He looks back on the time as difficult to describe, but his attitude towards things is remarkably receiving of the chaotic and uncontrollable nature of life. As he reminds us, nothing is sure. On the long road to psychological recovery, Thorsten began to holiday again, and in January 2004, he took a 2-week package trip to a resort in Phuket, catering for the handicapped. And this marked the beginning of his ongoing attachment to Thailand, a trip that made him decide to make the move.
It was around about 2 years after my accident. A travel agent or a magazine about traveling for handicapped, where, because I was in the beginning, I was still quite carefully in the way what I can do or what I cannot do. I picked out a resort in Phuket where I have facilities for handicaps. I was amazed, and I was surprised in a good way. Surprised how many freedom I have, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the time there. I enjoyed the people there. I want to coming back so soon as possible. And I came back soon. Not directly to Phuket, so I'm first to Bangkok, where I met a girl, where I want directly bring back with me to Germany, directly back without the knowing how difficult it is on the embassy for those people to come to Europe. I was frustrated, angry. It don't work out. And I said, okay, I stay in Bangkok.
Business opportunities soon arose for Torsten, which in 2006 brought him to Udon Thani, an area stricken by poverty and social disarray.
Running Mojo's restaurant and pool cafe and talking to the expatriate community that made up the majority of his clientele, Torsten soon saw the need to help with the desperation present here in Udon. With his utopian philosophy in mind and armed with a heavy insurance payout from his tragic accident, by July 2008, the concept of a foundation was born, the Friends of Udon.
Paralyzed from the chest down himself, Torsten began to pose the question of where the help was for handicapped children in Udon Thani, and soon realized that resources were scarce. Something needed to be done, and he had the means to help. Visitations to schools and the donations of equipment and uniforms entered Torsten into relationships that helped him to gather the contacts and information necessary to build the foundation up, and to make clear what his central aims would be. By August, he had compiled a list of 70 handicapped children who were in dire need of specialist care.
A guy where I met in Bangkok, American guy, what that he said, he would manage a bar, and I just the owner, and I thought I could trust him. He ran away without a bar, but with money, a lot of money, and I had a bar in Udon Thani. And I thought, would be not a good idea to bring Farangs and Thais a little bit closer together. And it would be not a good idea to set up a foundation, a charity. This was in the beginning, but then we had a contact with the handicap school from Udon Thani, where I get a list of them from the handicap school of kids where living is so far that they cannot visit the handicap school, or their handicaps are the kids are handicapped this much that they have not even make sense that they visit the handicap school. Kids where have nobody.
In October of 2008, visits to children without the ability to attend school, making house repairs and offering social and medical support became regularity. But Torsten still sought more. A deep sense of frustration clouded his life as involvement grew deeper and people disappointed him around every turn. With support thin on the ground, and in February of the new year, he took the bull by the horns.